Hello YouTube, welcome to our fourth tutorial actually on Python 3.7. Today we'll be talking about strings. So first, as many of you guys should know by now, I'll have to activate the Python 3.7 on my Mac since I'm using Terminal for now for the first few videos. So I'm going to type in Python 3 to get it to work like this, right? Okay, so now first we're going to just talk about strings and how to display strings into the console. So last video we talked about a few print statements. In this video I'm going to teach you guys a few easier ways and different methods to print strings and how to add strings, how to multiply strings. Okay, so first of all, if you want to, suppose you wanted to output the string cows. Okay, if you just typed in the word cows, it would not work because strings do not work like variables. Strings are completely different. So since cow was a variable and you wanted to print cow, just like that, you do print cow. And then it will give you a value. In this, it's not going to work because cow is not a variable because it has not been initialized to anything yet. And so when we want to print something like this, when we want to print something like cows, we want to print it like this. We can use the quotes like this, double quotes, and say cows, and then ending double quotes, and that allows us to print the word cows down to the console. Now again, if we wanted to print cows, there's another way to do this as well. You see the single quote, and then you can say cows, right? And then when you click the single quote, same exact thing happens. Alright, so let's go over our last method for printing things to the console, which is, as we learned last time, the print method. So to do the print method, all we have to do is type the word print, parenthesis, quote, it can be the single quote or double quote, and then cows, and then an end quote and end parenthesis, right? So when we do this, once again, we're going to get the word cows. If we do something like this, print, and then we do cows like this, just like last time, it's not a variable, so it's going to most likely give us an error. Now, okay, so let's go back to this. Suppose I wanted to print the phrase like this: I don't eat steak often. So if I was to run this statement, do you guys think this would most likely work or not work, and why? Well, if you said this statement wouldn't work, you would be right. See this? Here's the reason why the statement doesn't work. When we have two quotes over here, one quote over here, and one quote over here, you might think those are the beginning and the ending of the quotes. But as you can see over here, we have another quote in the middle of don't. So basically what the computer is seeing is it's seeing all the words over up till here, which is I-D-O-N, and it's disregarding the T, eat steak often. So that's why this is an invalid statement. But there's a really easy way to fix any problems that come up like this. You could always write something like, you can just do something like this. You can have the double quotes and say I don't eat steak often. And by using double quotes, we're going to get the word perfectly fine. It's just that each quote identifies with the other quote and will not recognize a different type of quote. Since this single quote is different than double quotes, our compiler, Python compiler, can read this. Another method that you guys can do if you want to act really savvy is just write the single quote, I-D-O-N, and then now do the backslash, single quote, eat steak often, and do a single quote. Now, as you guys can see, I added a little backslash in front of the don't, and when we run this, it perfectly comes up fine. Oh, let me just do it again, guys. I don't eat, yeah, I forgot the T, but you guys get the gist of the thing, right? And our, as you guys can see, our single quote, which is right there, highlighted, is actually showing up. Okay. Now I want to show you guys another practice problem. Like, how about we do something like, how about print, and then when we're doing print, we want to use colon. I do not I am not keen backslash I like pie. Right? Do you guys think this is going to compile? If you do, tell me why. And as you guys can see, it ran. Now let's try one more example, and I just want you guys to tell me if, based on our basic syntax we've learned so far, if you guys think this will work. I am not okay. So, do you guys think this will work? If you guys said yes, then you'd be incorrect. The reason that this statement did not work was because we had double quotes over here and we had single quotes over here. As I mentioned previously, you cannot use single quotes and double quotes at the same time because Python will not recognize them. Okay, now let's start off with some string multiplication and addition. Suppose I have string first name equals, no, whenever we have variable names, they have to be connected. Someone have st, I just want to name this first name equals Bob, and why is this not working? So, if you guessed it, as you can see, it's not because Bob is not defined. So, here's what we have to do. We have to do first name equals, let's use Bob, right? And this is going to work because Bob is a string, and as we should know by now, strings should always be placed in quotes, as shown in this example. And then how about last name equals Jones. Then, when we do this again, we do not have quotes around this, so it's not going to work. So remember, guys, when we have strings and we do not use quotes around them, it will 100% of the time never work. You need to identify that this is a string, because if Bob was considered as like an integer value or variable, then that's just not going to work because Bob is not a number. Only reason that we wouldn't have to use a number, that you wouldn't have these quotes around the word, is when you're talking about numbers. And in this case, Bob and Jones are both not numbers, so we do need to use the quotes around them. So let's just do this again. Last name equals quotes and quotes, and it works. So now if we do first name plus last name, what are we going to get? Bob Jones. So that would be our name. But suppose we do not want a big space in our name. Suppose we just want a little, we just don't want any space. So here's one method you guys can do, and I want one of our preceding videos. I'll teach you guys other methods so that you guys can do this. But for now, we can have middle name, let's try this, middle name equals space HH, this. So what's wrong again? So we have the quotes around our HH. What's going wrong? Well, the thing that's wrong with this is that we have a space between the words middle and name. All this is really just confusing Python, because when you want to have a variable, the variable has to all be one name. It cannot be two separate words, because that will not work and that will not be a variable. So if I was to do middle, my DLE, I was to do middle name equals, and this, and suppose how about it's John. So you guys should notice as I did this, when I have the word middle name, I have a space in front of John and I have a space after John. You guys will see why this is important in a little bit. So now suppose I want to do the same thing again with the first name, last name. First plus middle name plus last name, and enter, and we have Bob, John, Jones. The reason I had the spaces was so that when I put Bob and John together, there's going to be a space between them. When I put John and Jones together, there's once again a space against them, between them. And as you can see, between them are quotes. Even when Python is returning this to the console, it's still going to put these in quotes because they are strings, and strings must always be in quotes, right guys? So I want to teach you two more things in this video, and this is the first one. So suppose I have this. Suppose I do first name equals, how about Tom? So why does this not work? Because once again, no quotes around it. So let's do this correctly. First name equals quotes, T-O-M. Yeah, so guys, so now our first name is Tom. So as you guys can see up here, when we initiated the word first name, it was Bob, but now just by saying first name equals Tom, we've now changed it. Look. So suppose we want last name, suppose we also want to change the last name, and we want to make it Burger. So Tom Burger. We cannot do this because no quotes. So remember guys, I'm just really trying to emphasize this point. When you don't have quotes around your variable name and when it's a string, it will never work, and this is a really major thing. There are lots of instances where there have been missing quotes around string variables names in Python that really have caused huge problems and really big, things that happened. So anyway, back to our thing. We have last number. Let's just have R, last number, equals, and then B-U-R-G-E-R, and colon, and burger. So now let's do first name. First name plus middle name plus last name. And what do you guys think will come up? Do you think the same thing that happened last time, which was, where is it? First name, last name. Oh yeah, Bob, John, Jones. Is this what you think is going to happen? Or now that we've initialized this, Do you think that it's going to be something with Burger and Tom? Middle name, did I spell middle name wrong? Oh, I spelled middle name wrong, okay. So, instead of making you guys wait through the pain of having to go through all this, I'm going to copy this code, paste it down. Okay, I'm just going to have to write it again. So it's first name. This is why you should pay attention, guys. Plus middle name plus last name. And when we do this, we get Tom, John, Jones. Just like we changed it to. So remember, guys, when we change first name to equal Tom, it voided the word that we had before, which is Bob. So Bob was gone, Tom is here, and then, yeah. And if you guys were wondering why burger didn't work, as you guys can see over here, when we introduced burger, we said L, and we had a capital A on the AST, which is why burger did not work. And then the second time, it also said last numeral. But as you guys saw with Tom, it would work. I just spelled it wrong twice, so it's just dumb on my part. So I have one more thing to show you guys, and it's a really, really important thing as well. So suppose you have first name, and suppose when you're running a Python program, you need to display the word first name onto the screen maybe 5 times, okay? So you can write print first name, you can just keep writing that 5 times, or you can just do this, print first name times 5. And when you do this, you get the word Tom, 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 Tom. And if you guys wanted to do something like this, first, and then if you want the spaces, like I showed you guys before, just put a space, Tom, space, and this. So first name now equals Tom. Now when we want to do first name, first name times, suppose we want to do 12. Okay. Now with Tom, 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 and on and on and on. You get the gist of it. So yeah. So I hope you guys learned something from this Python tutorial. And if you did, please make sure to leave a like and comment down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.